going to talk about later, is the voices in his head. He said, I just want to be free. And you're like, free of what? Like, you're a free man. Free of the voices, which is the guilt, which is the shame, which is the anger, which is the grief, which is the trauma, the loss. Like, you just don't want to hear those screams anymore, specifically because the songs that they use when I hear my name, and it's all about calling out to me. It deeply traumatized. So Deadpool runs his mouth. And it's funny as shit, Spence, because he's sitting there and he's like, shut up. And he's like, okay. Yeah. And he's like, psh, 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 psh,
yeah.
Psh, psh, psh. He's so ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, I've never been tested for ADHD, but I've been tested for STDs, and I probably got those because I got ADHD. And like 100% because ADHD will not cause you to have unprotected sex, but like,
you sure?
But it could. I mean, like, chance of impulsivity, yes, but you know, it's not going to cause an STD. But Deadpool's lived a different life. Yeah. Funny joke, but like it all relates. Trauma does not cause ADHD, right? It's not the cause, right? It has to be neurological, biological, right? But some folks will go through a lot of trauma, Spence, and it will mimic the signs of like ADHD because of that thing we call hypervigilance, that PTSD effect. Sometimes it can make you second guess like a million things and think a million things. Why? Because you're trying to protect yourself from the world. And so the anxiety starts to manifest. That anxiety looks like racing thoughts. It looks like ADHD when actually anxiety, trauma, not necessarily ADHD, but it can look very similar and correlate. And trauma can worsen the effects of ADHD. Mm-hmm. And also should be noted that a lot of folks with ADHD experience trauma at a higher rate and majority than folks without it. Neurodivergent folks, that's normal. We usually are the victims of abuse most of the time. So interesting things. Yeah. But bro, he went in on Deadpool like that was some anger and some pain. And I get it because he just told him, like, I might not be able to save your world. And so, right, his whole thing is about redemption. And then you tell him, I can't do that. The rug pull. He huck to his ass. I say that because she fucking tricked everyone in that fucking Bitcoin shit.
No, she's saying she didn't. I was like, okay.
Sure. Okay. You and Donald didn't rug pull people, but whatever. So I wanted to tie that in because, you know, when some of us go off, we go off. And we know this a lot in relationships. Imagine them as a young gay couple. Well, they're not that young and they're not that gay, but they could be.
Until you're 70.
I know. So this is a lot of relationships that I'm working with now in marriage counseling where something goes on. The other person's like, all right, well, I'm going to hurt you now. Right. Recently, some of the couples have been like, Nas, they're just so fucking mean in the arguments. They're just horribly mean. Like, bro, what's going on? And it's really hard to have like good conversations when the other person's being nasty, mean, derogatory, and poking at your insecurities, but they're hurt. So what are they going to do? They're going to hurt you. That's what Wolverine did to Deadpool. You just hurt him by telling him that this might not work out. And he's like, oh, okay, fuck you. You ain't never going to be shit. You're insignificant. No one wants you. You're a loser. You're retarded. Sorry to use that word, but that's what he's trying to say is that you're nothing. Yeah. You couldn't even get your stripper wife. No knocks against strippers or like anyone hustling, making the money. But like, you couldn't even get her to like you. And it's like, bro, what do we know about Deadpool, Spence? What's the one thing he fucking loves, no matter what?
Loves Vanessa.
I knew when he said that, I was like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
I thought he was crying under that mask. I don't know about you.
He could have. He could have been.
What?
I think.
He says, I'm going to fight you now.
Yeah, I think he's just. The thing about Deadpool, I don't know. Like you said, he is caring about Vanessa, obviously, because that's the only person that he's really opened up to.
Facts.
The only person he's ever opened up to. And then also, you know, otherwise he's kind of just, he doesn't really take any other emotions into account other than like being funny. And that's about it. So that's why I think this relationship really is interesting to kind of unpack, is that just, even though they are different in their personalities, they're very similar.
So similar.
Right. And so one uses comedy to really hide or mask pain that he's going through, and then the other one uses anger / addiction to really cope with kind of what's he's going on.
It's a perfect couple.
Yeah.
One talks, the other one shuts up, and the other one drinks.
And tells the other one to shut the fuck up.
Perfect couple.
Stop talking. I'm going to keep talking.
Jesus Christ. That fight scene was epic. We're not going to put the fight scene in there because all it is like stabbing. And so you're not going to hear anything other than stabbing. So,
yeah. So go watch the movie.
You can enjoy your stabbing at a later stabbing.
Yeah. Go and watch stabbing there.
To each his own stabbing.
Yeah. To each their own.
Let's check out these next couple scenes, man. Oh, we forgot to talk about limits, but we'll get into that with some other trauma shit. Limits. But let's go into scene 3 and 4, Spence.
Yeah. So the third one is, it's Logan and X-23 or Laura. Or is it Laura or Lauren? You see.
I think Laura.
It is. Yeah, it's Laura. Laura, they're at the campfire. She's bringing up the fact like you're like him, drunk, angry. It's like, oh, sounds like a fucking great guy. But then she also says that he was there, right? During the most important moments, he was always there. And this is the scene before they go to Cassandra Nova's base to fight for the last fight. And he's like, I'm not doing that shit. What's the point? I don't want to fight anymore. I'm done with fighting. And then now he's bringing up the fact that this is the first time he's actually kind of opened up to kind of what happened to the X-Men, and why his suit is so important, right? And so he brings up the fact that the X-Men, even though they wanted him to be in, he was like, I don't want to wear this shit. I don't want to be part of this group, yada yada yada. And then all of a sudden, these humans went and attacked the X-Men, and I did air quotes there because supposedly it was supposed to be Jonathan Majors' character that actually was supposed to be the villain that kills all the X-Men in that universe. And so after everything that's happened with him, they cut that out, and so then they're like, humans are the ones that did it. And I'm like, how the fuck did all the humans kill the X-Men? Like, what? All of them?
I don't know.
Like, how the hell did that happen? They have superpowers. Motherfucker got laser eyes. Couldn't just zap them.
They got the Achilles heel. What they got? Their kryptonite. They got au jus sauce.
Yeah, something. But that's why they also didn't show them like it happening.
But that makes sense now.
Yeah. But he's talking about it, and then he's also saying that I have to get this out. I have to get this out, because he verbally needs to actually get the fact out of what happened, right? He needs to, in a way, express it, and then also control like what's kind of he needs to actually get through this, because I think it's probably the first time he's ever talked about it to anybody. And so they're talking about it, and then we finally find out what and why he's kind of going through. Great scene when it comes to just somebody who's actually needs to get out what they're kind of going through, and also it is a way, like you were bringing up, that PTSD, you can kind of get out of the chokehold of PTSD by actually talking about it.
The isolation.
What would you say? Would you say that's good sound advice for people that are actually going through PTSD? And like, what other things, advice would you give to those who might be suffering?
So magnificent question. Didn't see that one coming. So depends on where their symptomology is at, Spence. So if they're actively like super hypervigilant, kind of tweaked out, very scared, then maybe we do some individual therapy, but maybe also some medication if their symptoms are really bad physically. Mm-hmm. Support groups are magnificent. So I would picture this more of a like peer support or support group. They have them a lot with military folks that experience trauma, grief, loss. It's all trauma. Well, any type of loss is trauma. And so to hear the stories to unburden yourself with the stories and find out that you're not crazy, that the other people that, you know, been through what you've been through, or they'll validate that that shit's fucked up, or like, hey man, it's okay to be scared. Like, yeah, I'm scared too. It's fucking terrible. That's actually really powerful for a lot of people. They feel unburdened, like this weight is lifted off their chest. Also, with all the guilt and shame that he has, sometimes it's good to like finally say it out loud, because that demon is just screaming in your head. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. You know, they're all going to hate you. It just, all these horrible things you just keep screaming. And then you finally say it out loud to someone. Somehow the voice gets like lighter or softer. Maybe you'll start challenging the thought. Maybe they'll help you challenge that thought. Maybe they tell you, man, this isn't real. Or by real, I mean, this isn't actually what happened. You're not to blame for this, right? Rationale and logic can set in. Right. So talking 100% is good. That's why he had to say it. Because otherwise he's just screaming it in his head, and that's what he's doing the alcohol for. Mm-hmm. That's what people are going to use their weed for. That's what they're going to use the other substances, cocaine, heroin. This private practice, Spence, has been wild, man. It's a lot more substance abuse than I thought. It's all relationship and couples counseling, and it's a lot of substance abuse. Not always together because of relationships. It's two separate categories. Right. And just people are just traumatized, man. And some of the people are traumatized from the childhoods. And with that high trauma, you see a high abuse and addiction issues. Wolverine's past makes sense on how his present is responding. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.